to the Reds Relay Podcast, Episode 5. The Redlegs are struggling, and the Titanic struggle continues for the Redlegs as we begin this episode, Episode 5. I'm glad to be back, Matt Fry, but, the Redlegs, have really struggled over the last week. We're going to kind of dive deep into why they're struggling and who around the league is actually not struggling. So, as always, Matt Fry is with me today,
Hello.
as well as Jake Sanders is behind the scenes.
Hello.
And we're ready to get into this episode. I think it's been a tough week. They've obviously, it's been a little bit of a slide for the Reds. They've lost 6 in a row, going back to the Padres series, losing the final game of that series, which I believe was the last time we left our audience. So it's been a really rough week for them. Now they sit at 16-19 after the loss tonight to the Diamondbacks, another ugly game. But as pessimistic as I've been over the last week, and rightfully so. I mean, it's really been a tough slide for them. But I think things are going to change, and I don't know where you sit with this, but
yeah, we've hit a rough start or a rough little stretch here the past week. But the only good thing going for us is we got Friedl back and we get Montas back, so a little hope for the next
key
couple
additions.
Weeks.
I think today was a big day of transactions the Reds made. They made a couple key moves. Actually, before I say that, I want to talk one thing. They sent Sam Maul down the other day, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, he's got a 25 consecutive. What is it? He has not allowed to run 25 innings.
So they sent him down instead of sending a guy like Justin Wilson down, who had a really rough night tonight. That was kind of one of the not so great moves that Nick Kral's made, but. Today, they made some great transactions. Bringing back TJ Friedl to kind of solidify the top of the order was
moving Bubba Thompson down to Double-A.
Yeah, they get rid of Bubba Thompson, send him down to Triple-A. Nick Martini, who has been at best, no, he hasn't. He's been worthless, to be honest.
He's been terrible.
Nick Martini has not been very good. So I think getting him off the active roster, sending him down to AAA was probably the best move. They need somebody else hitting in that DH spot, and a guy that could hit in that DH spot is Connor Capel, who they acquired over the offseason, who has just now been called up from AAA, and he's a guy to where he could kind of come up and maybe hit some home runs in some pinch hit roles, maybe play against some right-handed pitching. I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah, it's someone to just fill the void in our a little injury bug we've got going on.
Yeah, he had some time with the Oakland Athletics last year, so we'll kind of see what he brings to the table. I like the new face. I like bringing up some fresh faces. I would like to see Reese Hines up very soon. He's been hitting the ball pretty well in AAA. For me, it's just about seeing new guys in the lineup.
Yeah, another move we made was we send Jabot down to the 60-man IL. So
60-day IL,
another setback there.
Yeah, I think what I read in the tweet was it's a carpal tunnel issue, actually. So I don't really know what that's going to entail. And the timetable was kind of weird. They didn't really give a specific. I mean, obviously he's on the 60-day IL, but there wasn't a direct timetable for him. So I'm not sure how that's going to go down. But we wish the best for him, and hopefully we can get him back. The bullpen's been pretty good, so I'm not having him around is not the end of the world. Getting Friedl back is huge. Montas also comes back. And then threw the ball well today.
Yeah, the pitching is starting to seem like our strong suit.
Yeah, and this offense clearly is not the strong suit, but Frankie Montas, was spectacular today, coming off the injury that he had on April 21st. He was hit with a line drive in the arm and was pulled from the first inning, but that was after kind of having those 2 rough starts. But he was great tonight. Only 1 earned run. The only other run he gave up was the unearned. Ellie had an error at short. Pretty hard to hit ball, but probably should make the play. But, so he gives up 1 earned run, strikes out 7 through 6 innings, and really threw the ball well. He's throwing really hard tonight.
He looked a lot better today. The velocity was way up. He was
99,
getting guys out.
Yeah. Split was really good. And so getting those guys back is huge. And, after a really rough weekend in in Great American Ballpark, playing Baltimore, where Baltimore really just dominated the Redlegs, and two runs over the series, and just was not a good performance at all by the offense. And and then the last game they get blown out. Pagan comes in and gives up a grand slam, and I believe that was the 8th or ninth inning, just to kind of just put a capper on how bad of the weekend was. So not a good series overall. One stat I wanted to look at, and it's kind of been a thing over the last couple of years that the Reds have really dealt with, and that's they struggle against left-handed pitching like I've never seen another team.
Yeah, they started to do a little bit better of that this year, and then now we're just falling right back on last year's track.
Yeah,
left-handed.
And it's not that they don't have good right-handed hitters. I mean, you have guys. You have Stevenson. Now Stevenson struggled, and CES hasn't gotten it going. But you have Spencer Steer. You have Jonathan India. You have some guys that are supposed to be hitting left-handed pitching.
Hit left-handers.
But lefties against the Reds in the weekend series against Baltimore, 15 and a third innings, 0 runs, 5 hits, and 13 strikeouts. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. When you're facing, and in the left-handed pitching they're facing is not, elite left-handed pitching. I mean, they face a guy like Cole Irvin, who's like, a solid 5, but he's not, anything of a crazy left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, we faced these Orioles. They're a really scary team, and we didn't even get to face their ace and Corbin Burns there.
Yeah, we didn't even see Corbin.
Thank God. But
they didn't see Grayson Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's like they just look so lost up there. Like,
yeah, it was not a good series. And I would agree. I don't really think you can sugarcoat the weekend. Excuse me. It was just, I think it was just a perfect storm, really. I mean, the pitching kind of blew up in a couple of those games, and then.
And the Orioles might be one of the best teams in the league. It's
and that's fair to say. I would agree.
I'm glad
with that.
we're doing if it was like the Cardinals and we're struggling against this, but I mean, you still don't want to see that. But the Orioles are a really good team, and it's I don't think it's too concerning. I mean, we got to step it up around eventually somehow.
But I think that being said, like if we're going to talk about the Reds and say, okay, well, they have a ton of young talent, and they are supposed to be one of the better teams in baseball. They have to understand that they have to beat these teams. Now, I would agree that, yes, the Orioles are a very much more complete team than the Reds. They have some really good veteran hitters in there. Santander scares me every time he comes to the plate. Gunnar Henderson's been unbelievable. We talked about him in a previous episode about possibly being in the MVP conversation. And then Adley Rutschman was insane. I think they got him out like twice. So it was, it was definitely a very bad weekend. And it's obviously not a good start to this Diamondback series. And it's at home too. So they're, the Reds just have not played well at home. They haven't played well the last, couple weeks. Hopefully getting some guys back kind of rejuvenates them a little bit. I know tonight didn't go well, but it's Friedl's first game back. So, hopefully it kind of rejuvenates them.
Yeah, it just opens up the lineup a little bit. Another guy to pitch to, and opens up the bottom of the order maybe a little bit. Maybe get Strahan going. Maybe get Candelario going.
To 9, yeah.
Benson get going.
Yeah, so I think solidifying the top of the order is definitely going to help this team. But they've got to figure something out. I mean, realistically, that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to those power bats figuring it out. Candelario, CES, India. We keep reiterating that, but that is going to be the key for this team. If this team does not hit, they are not going to win. Now, the pitching has been good. Don't get me wrong. The pitching's been great. But it doesn't matter how good the pitching is if you can't score runs, especially at home. It's they're going to struggle, and they have. So yeah, they have the Diamondbacks at home for 3. They just concluded their game 1 of the series, losing 6-2 tonight. Like we said earlier, Montas threw the ball really well, and not a lot of offense. India and Stevenson both hit solo home runs. Great, whatever. Not really anything to write home about. Tomorrow they will see Jordan Montgomery, another left-handed pitcher, another elite left-handed pitcher. And then on Thursday, they will see Slade Sassoni, great name. I actually don't know much about him. And then Ashcraft will go tomorrow for the Reds, and Hunter Green will go on Thursday.
Yeah, we got a fun little reunion, too, for some former Reds. I didn't realize they had these guys.
The Arizona Redlegs.
Kevin Newman, Tucker Barnhart, Eugenio Suarez.
A couple of key Reds over the last couple of years, and they actually hit really well.
They did pretty good today.
Suarez looked like a mess at the plate, but most Reds fans know after 2019, he kind of became a Keno. I mean, he didn't really do much. But, yeah, Kevin Newman had a good night tonight. Barnhart had a good night, and he's always going to steal strikes behind home plate. So, yeah, it was definitely, not a great night, but I think they're going to come out and get him tomorrow. I think they're going to turn it around. I think it's just about putting some once a couple guys put some good at bats together, for me, I think that's just what turns it around. I haven't seen the Reds, and sometimes they're scoring runs, but a lot of it's solo home runs. I haven't seen them put 3 at bats in a row together. 3 really good quality at bats, whether it's a walk, a base hit, a double in the gap, even just an out. Like, I haven't seen 3 consecutive good at bats.
Yeah, there's just too many guys slumping in that lineup to get hot right now.
Yeah, so I think once they kind of start to just get a couple guys going, it's just gonna, and that's kind of what they did last year. It was like, it seemed like it was a different guy every night, and it's just, this team doesn't have a lot of life. They're gonna find it. I really believe that. I think that this team has a lot of heart. They've got too much talent to, not be successful. They're going to figure it out, and I think that it's only a matter of time. It's May. Let's keep that in mind, Reds country, that it is May. It is not September, even though it has been a long year, but realistically, there are only 3 games under 500.
Yeah, that's hard to believe, actually.
I mean,
based off this past
it
week,
seems like even though they were over 500 for a while, it didn't seem like they were playing great baseball, losing a lot of series, losing to some bad teams. But they're only 3 games under 500. I believe they're in 3rd or 4th place. So, it's not time to panic. I just think that, and they kind of ran into a good arm tonight, Gallen through, so I think they're going to be okay. It's about getting the right guys up there, getting Maul back, sending Wilson down, just little stuff like that. And just a couple guys turning it on and kind of starting to carry this team. And then everybody, I think, will follow suit. So this video today, this podcast is going to be a little bit shorter of a video. We didn't have a ton of stuff to talk about. I mean, because there really hasn't been a ton of Reds content, really, just because, they're not hitting. So I can't really, we're not going to sit up here and just be talking heads and talk about the same stuff we've talked about. So the last thing we want to mention about the Reds is obviously TJ Friedl is back, and I think that's going to be a big thing for them. Just going to read off a couple of his numbers from last year. To me, I thought he was their best player last year. 128 total games, 18 homers, 22 doubles, 8 triples. 66 RBIs, a 279 average, 352, 467, and 819 was his OPS. That's his slash line. Stole 27 bags, and he plays great defense. So I think he's going to help this team out a lot. So that's kind of where the Reds are right now, and I think they're going to be fine. Folks, I really think they're going to be fine. It's just about
we've held the fort long enough to get our leadoff hitter back we're not out of the race at all. If we can keep this a little longer and get, in my opinion, our best player and Matt McClain back, we just got to hold the fort down until we can get these guys healthy, and we'll be fine. We have the depth. Yeah. We have the players. We have the young guys in our minor league system. So,
I don't think it's time to panic. I think it's time to be concerned a little bit about some guys, but I don't think that it's time to panic yet. We haven't even reached the summer months yet, so I'm not super worried about it. So we're going to kind of jump into some MLB news. We're going to talk a little bit of who's hot and who is not. So far, some guys that are hot, especially in the month of May, on the pitching side. I want to talk a little bit about Shoto Imanaga for the Chicago Cubs. He's been unbelievable. He's 5-0. With a 6.8 or 0.68 ERA. He's been great for the Cubbies. Mitch Keller the other night threw a complete game shutout or I don't know if it was a shutout, but it was a complete game for the Pirates. They're kind of hanging around a little bit. They kind of had a rough stint, but I don't believe that we have all the charts for these players. And that's, I think we're good, Jake. If you don't have all those, that's not a big deal. So those are a couple arms in the National League that have been really good. Logan Gilbert's been great. Nathan Eovaldi had a great outing the other night. 5 1/3 shutout, 8 strikeouts. So those are a couple pitchers that are lighting it up. A couple of hitters, actually, that I have noted here. Ohtani's batting .370.
Yeah, Ohtani is mashing right now.
Yeah, he's definitely the Dodgers are definitely getting hit the money's worth on the offensive side. 11 home runs for Shohei. Really just been hitting the ball all over the park.
Yeah, I thought this year, since he's not pitching and he's just focusing on hitting, he's going to be the best player in the league by far.
Yeah, so he's definitely leading the MVP conversation as of now in the National League. Yeah, and savant page is ridiculous. I think there's like 5 or 6 100th percentiles there, which for you stat people out there is pretty crazy to see. And I think he leads the league in hits. And I think
He's
extra
climbing
base,
up there in home runs.
Yeah, I
He's
think
hit a
extra base
couple
hits
the past
too.
Few days.
Luis Garcia from the Washington Nationals is batting .615 in the month of May. Now it's only been 4 games, but he is definitely on a hot streak. There's a couple guys that have really been lighting up. Adley Rutschman's been really hot. Just to kind of jump into the American League a little bit. Now, some guys that are not everyone that plays for the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, and I don't need to keep going over it, but those are some guys. And actually, we were going to bring up Corbin Carroll.
We talked about last episode.
We're going to talk about him not being
he was
hot,
struggling, and then here he goes.
He had a great night tonight. A couple hits,
3 RBIs, a home run, or however many RBIs he had.
Yeah,
he went off.
Yeah, he was spectacular tonight, and he just hits the ball over the park, and he was fantastic to watch. Another arm in the National League that's very hot, Jared Jones. Kind of coming out of nowhere for the Pirates. I don't know kind of where he ranked in their prospect tier list, but he has been unbelievable this year. And I'm actually going to, as I'm sitting here, I'm going to pull up his stats.
The NL Central's got some pretty good young pitchers this year.
Let's see if I can get... I want to get all games. How do I... Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, let's see if I can find Cutter Crawford's another arm that's been really good. I saw a couple of his outings the other day. Ranger Suarez has been great. Zach Wheeler's probably still leading the conversation for the Cy Young. I would
Logan
say
Gilbert right there, one of the most underrated pitchers in the
Logan
league.
Gilbert, who the Reds ran into the other night, was really, really good.
The Mariners got a scary staff and on their team right there.
And I think the Pirates could have a scary one, as I find Jared Jones' stats, 2.63 ERA, over 41 innings, 52 strikeouts. So he's been really good. And they have Paul Skeens sitting in the minor leagues right now that, could come up in a little bit. He's pitched really well. Tyler Glasnow has pitched very well for the Dodgers. So that's a little bit of kind of who's hot and who is not. So I think, again, like I said, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. Our last couple episodes have been a little bit longer. We're going to try something a little bit new today. We're going to do the baseball reference, but then we are going to jump into an immaculate grid, which most people know about, the 9 quadrants, and we're going to jump into that game. So I think we're going to go ahead and change gears. That's kind of our baseball news for today. I don't think is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Not too much to talk about right now with the Reds.
So that's kind of going to do it for our Reds content today. But we are going to give you some former Red Legs in the baseball reference. Go ahead and throw up the first name for me, Jake, and let me get a good look. Okay. So, all right. So our first guy is a 2016 debut for the New York Mets. Kind of a bench guy, not a ton of career at bats or games. Kind of plays all over the field. 2022 was his first season. I had a name in my head just a second ago, and I'm not sure if that's where I want to go with it. Only 2. I mean, this guy does not have a lot of career games. 92 games for the Reds in 2022, which was a really bad year. Only hit a few homers. This guy played everywhere. 2 games. I mean, he didn't do anything last year for the Red Legs. So he probably sat.
This is.
Okay, so that kind of gives me a little bit of a clue. So that makes me think that he probably sat in AAA a lot last year, and he might either be with the Reds or I bet he's an unsigned free agent at the moment. I just don't remember this guy really playing anywhere else, but my guess is that this is Matt Reynolds.
You would be correct.
Excellent. Matt Reynolds. Yeah, he sat in AAA most of last year after Lee and all them guys came up. So Matt Reynolds. Wow. That's definitely a very obscure Red. And it looks like this next guy is going to be very obscure as well, as we have a 2015 Houston Astro debut. He pitched, oh my gosh, you guys are giving me a freaking name. So the bulk of his career is in Baltimore, and he was a starter. Never came out of the bullpen. For the Reds, 4-3, 6.5 ERA. Okay, so I have a name that comes to my mind when I see the Reds to Baltimore. And like 2017, they had so many starters. Now, this isn't like an Anthony DeSclafani.
No, it is not.
Because he would have went to the Giants. He had a better career than this, obviously. They had so many arms. They had Iglesias. They had Dave Holmberg. They had John Lamb. They had some guys in there. This is not John Lamb, right?
No, it is not.
Okay. I think... Now, I don't know if I'm going to know how to pronounce his name, but I believe that this is Asher Wojnarowski.
Attaboy, 2 for 2.
I actually can't believe that I got that because that's like Asher. He was like, oh my God, I remember he pitched for them, and I think I only really remember this name because I see him on MLB The Show.
I really thought I was going to get you with that one.
That's an unbelievable name. You had to have went into the depths to find that name. Great name there, Jake. All right. We're on to our last guy. Another Baltimore guy, another pitcher, our second pitcher of the trio of Baseball Reference names. Another Houston Astro debut, 2021 with the Red Legs out of the bullpen. Really didn't have a lot of innings. So this is probably a guy that came up early in the year because they always, kind of like this year, they always seem to have a couple guys in the bullpen that don't end up making it down the road with the team. But that was a good team they had that year. Baltimore. And then he was good with Baltimore. Wow, 7-1 with a 1.4 ERA. Now, okay, I think I know who this guy is. Still around with Baltimore. He's left-handed, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Yeah, he's left-handed. Okay, so I know who this is. This is Cionel Perez.
You're a perfect 3 for 3.
3 for 3 today. That's what we love to see. About time I got a perfect 3. Did I go perfect in the last episode?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Because I think I missed Joel Kuhnel. Was that the last episode? Yeah. Wow. So we have Cionel Perez, Asher Wojnarowski. I think that's how you pronounce that. And then we had, who was the first guy? Was it Matt Reynolds?
Matt Reynolds.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for Baseball Reference. Now we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to do an immaculate grid. I really enjoy these. I know a lot of baseball nerds out there really like these. And we have a good one because it includes the Red Legs. This is the one from today, I believe. Yes.
It is indeed. From May 7th.
Okay. So
we going for the lowest rarity score?
I think we can get some really good names. Now, obviously, looking at it, you could go Cubs,
Wade, Miley.
Reds.
But you probably know a lot more.
Castellanos. So like a guy that when I was a little bit younger watching the Reds was Sean Marshall. We could go him. Let's see. We could do... Yeah, go ahead and throw Sean Marshall in there. I think that's a pretty good obscure name. Yep. Sean Marshall, 1%. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty low. He was a setup guy for the Reds a little bit, never could really get healthy. Now at Cubs and Cardinals, I don't know if that's a, let's see. I mean, there's a lot of guys you could put in there. I'm also looking at this Cubs and A's as well. Let's see. Well, we could jump to the Reds 200 hits. And now I want to say Pete Rose.
There's not a whole lot of guys that are.
But yeah, it's like I don't think Votto ever had 200 hits in a season.
His MVP season he might have, but I'm not sure.
Let's do. Man, this okay. So I want to
try for one of those older guys.
I don't really want to miss. Let's do try Votto.
No.
We're taking a little shot in the dark. I don't. All right, let's just throw Pete Rose in there. Now this is going to be a big number because 86. Yeah, so there's not a lot of Reds that have 200 hits. Now pitch one game. This is where we can really get interesting.
You could throw Luke Maile out there.
Well, another guy we could put in there is Matt Reynolds, who we had today.
Yeah,
so put Matt Reynolds in there.
That might be
because he pitched in a game for the Reds. Look at that. 0.1%. So obviously not a pitcher. But he pitched one game for, I think it was actually a couple. They brought him because that was a bad year. They brought him in a couple times to throw. Let's stay on the pitched minimum one game because there's some names you could really throw out.
Yadier Molina or Albert Pujols.
See, and now we could do those.
But a lot of people would probably.
Yeah, that's kind of what, like, so I'm trying to think like those back end bullpen guys, like early in 2011, like 10 era. So like there's a guy like Jason Mott. We could do I mean there's some names back there, man. Like Mark Revchinsky. Like that's a name. Let's do put Mark and then put R. It's like RY. I don't forget let me look him up because I forget. Now, this might be cheating, but I just don't know how to spell his name. It's like Rez. I don't know if I can spell. Okay, let's chalk that one. Let's do Jason Mott. Yep. 0.7. Okay, so less than 1%. And then A's. What do you got? You got any like?
I mean, you know more than me.
Well, I can think of some like really like Grant Balfour, but he was like their closer, so like he was kind of like a big name. Sean Doolittle. I was kind of hoping it would be Reds and A's because we could do Sean Doolittle.
Montas.
You could do Frankie Montas. We could do Dallas Braden, who threw a perfect game. Do Dallas Braden. That's a name that I don't hear a lot about. Yeah, right there. 3%, so a little bit higher. He actually does his own podcast, actually, and it's pretty good. He's been on John Boy a couple of times. He threw a perfect game for the Oakland Athletics. A's 200 hit season. That makes me want to go.
There's a couple of show guys, like older players.
Like a Jimmy Fox.
Yeah, like Jimmy Fox.
I don't know if he has 200 hits. Ooh, okay. I have a Cardinal Cub, actually. Let's throw Dexter Fowler in there.
Oh, Dexter Fowler.
Yeah. 10%, so not a crazy low number. And probably some of the viewers at home can probably get better scores. It's a little bit more difficult for us because we're on a time crunch, and I'm trying to talk my way through this. Cubs and A's. To me, I'm trying to think like middle infield guys that would have played. I don't know like who. I mean, who was on some of those like bad Cubs teams? Like you had like obviously
Starlin Castro.
But see, he was a Yankee.
Yeah, he didn't.
Like Darwin Barney played for the Dodgers. I'm trying to think. Bryant obviously didn't play for the A's. I feel like there's a catcher somewhere. Catcher or well, okay. So an obvious one would be like John Lester. That's a name I just thought of. We could
also leave that one blank and get to the other ones.
Yeah,
we have one that'll be blank.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to be like let's do John Lester. That's probably going to be a higher number, but 14% is not bad. Obviously won a ring with the Cubs and had a couple postseason starts for the A's. Now Cardinals 200 hits. Well, you could go somewhere like Ozzie Smith. Pujols would probably be a big name. I don't know if Ozzie Smith ever got 200 hits in a season though.
You think Matt Holliday did?
No, he was always most of a power guy. Try Ozzie Smith. Come on. Oh. And we actually missed, so kind of not a great showing. We missed a couple of the immaculate grid squares. Those are interesting. The 200 hits one, I don't know if I like just because there's only so many guys that do that. And that, not a lot of guys hit 200 hits anymore nowadays. It's more of a power game now.
Can you go to the Reds one and see who all did it? I think if you just hit show summary and then scroll down a little bit, there's 6 possible Reds.
Oh, they show you the.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
this
Pete Rose,
Vada Pinson, yep, Frank Robinson.
I was thinking of Frank Robinson, but
Frank McCormick. Like I know who that is, but I wouldn't have.
So
can we go back to that for a second? I kind of want to look. Go to Let's go back to the grid, and go to like pitched in a game. Just click on it. I know there's a lot, but I want to see like does it show like the rarity of each one? Oh, okay. So go all the way down to like guys that like pitch one game. Just out of curiosity, just for some of our. Can you? Let's see. Well, yeah, it seems like the number's getting lower. Our viewers can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we're looking at here. Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, you can't.
I guess we can't get it.
down.
I was kind of click on that arrow. What does that arrow do? No, under the games. Yeah.
It just sorts
It
it out.
sorts it, but I think it's sorting by games played as well.
Yeah.
So I don't. If you only have like one appearance as a position player, I think it's
Oh, does it?
counting,
Okay, it
like
doesn't
your
show.
total games as a position player.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, man, you could throw up any name on there, and it's probably like Sal Romano. Even Matt Latos would be like an obscure name, even though it's like obviously in Reds country, everybody knows who Matt Latos is. All right, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know you could actually do that. But yeah, I didn't know that was a feature of that. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's kind of where we're gonna wrap up today. Not a ton to talk about in this episode. Hopefully these Reds can really, get back on track and really figure some things out. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for us, Matt Fry. What do you say?
Yeah, check out the new reels getting posted on all the platforms.
Yes, please check out our Instagram, our TikTok, as well as our. You can find us here on YouTube and on Spotify. You can listen to us. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching and listening wherever you may be. Go Reds.